Hello, I am Samuel Massey.
And I'm Ryan Talley.
Today, our target audience is any listener that would want a better understanding of how Remember the Titans shows the struggle and overcoming of racism in American culture. 2 hours of your life can be spent watching a movie that can change your view on the world forever. Remember the Titans shows the struggle and overcoming of racism in American culture in many different ways. Remember the Titans is a movie starring Denzel Washington. He plays the role of a head football coach at a school where football is the way of life. In this school, they have recently decided to integrate all races into the school. Throughout the movie, him as the head coach and other players face many hardships as minorities and overcome many tough battles. In the setting of the movie, racial segregation has just been abolished, but there are still lingering feelings amongst both parties of hatred. Both the white and blacks of the teams segregate themselves from one another and can't seem to work together. After enduring many hardships together, they stop judging each other on race, but on the content of each other's characters.
The movie begins with the hiring of Coach Boone, and many of the families are not a big fan of that, as they're all white and he's a black coach coming into a newly integrated school. Coach Boone comes in, and none of the players really want to follow any of the rules simply because of his color. As the movie goes on, many relationships are made, and players put aside their differences and come together. One of these relationships is Gary and Julius. Gary is one of the white guys with the family that's not for the new hiring, and you could say they are pretty racist. Julius comes from a less off black family, and him and Gary butt heads for a while throughout the movie. This goes on, and for a while they still can't get along. And once they do, the team actually begins to start winning games, and slowly they start to come together. Later on into the movie, Gary gets into a car accident and is paralyzed. When Julius goes to visit him at the hospital, one of the white nurses tries not to allow him in the room and basically says only family or siblings are allowed. Gary replies saying, "What do you mean, Janice? That's my brother." That's a big deal, and that shows that they came a long way from the start of the movie. Next, there's another character named Louis. He never really saw a difference between the kind of people that were all there, and he never really saw color, you could say. He was one of the main reasons that brought them together, and he wasn't racist at all. These characters basically throughout the movie disagree, and over time they get past their differences and they unite.
Remember the Titans is a movie that can completely shift one's paradigm, following a story about how we may have many differences physically, but we are all still human, and that we can all overcome racism in this country.